Discussion.
Last week, there was an anonymous story about servers in San Francisco demanding a mandatory 25% tip. It couldn't be verified, but nonetheless, it sparked a lot of debate on the topic. Here we have two guests to discuss the situation: Sam from the US and Tammy from the UK. Tammy, what do you think about this issue?
I believe that tips shouldn't be mandatory. They can be a reward for excellent service, but a predetermined amount that must be paid to the server regardless of the quality of the meal and experience just doesn't make any sense to me.
It might be a cultural thing. Being from the US, there is such an expectation of tipping around 20% that you don't really question it. If you're going out to eat, for example, you know that you're also tipping.
Where I come from, we mostly just round up to the nearest zero or bill. It makes getting change back easier, and the servers still get something for their trouble. But I'm curious to know your take on places that include gratuity in the bill. To me, that is more upfront and acceptable than leaving it up to me.
Yes. I think we're of a like mind in that regard. You don't have to do any calculations yourself, and the staff don't have to worry about being short-shifted.
I wonder why more restaurants don't do that.
Maybe it's a gamble they're willing to take, that people might tip more than they would otherwise ask. Plus, I've heard from some friends that even the places that don't do that still count on the tips based on sales to pay the wages of the staff. So, apparently, if people don't tip generously, it could mean lower wages for everyone working at the establishment.
That's awful. What I can't comprehend is how it's possible that so many people work in an industry that doesn't guarantee them even minimum wage. It's absolutely disgraceful to have people do arduous work 40 hours a week or more and still have to wonder if they will earn enough for basic expenses.
You're totally right. It's very demeaning. This is why I hold the view that tipping should be mandatory in every case, even if the server is rude or the service isn't great. If not, we're potentially punishing the entire staff, even those who did their job well.
You see, that's where we disagree. How can we ever expect the management and treatment of these workers to change if we keep enabling them by tipping every person that crosses our way to make up for the exploitative working conditions they have? Instead of demanding a 25% tip, the staff should demand a living wage.
I suppose you're right, but I still wouldn't feel comfortable not tipping knowing what their current predicament is.
I sympathise with that. I must admit, despite my staunch attitudes to fair worker compensation, I still can't bring myself not to tip the usual amount whenever I visit the US. It just feels that by withholding the tip, I would be further hurting those who are already being mistreated.
1. My country of origin dictates how I tip. 2. Servers should be earning a living wage. 3. It would be fairer to have gratuity included in the bill. 4. I feel a sense of responsibility to balance out the staff's earnings by tipping. 5. I am convinced that the system that dictates payment should be changed. 6. I feel that my actions are hypocritical.